Hello everybody. Today we have Decimal Operations Unit Study Guide. So, solve each of the problems below. These represent the types of questions on your test. Be sure to ask questions if you need more help with the topic. So email me if you do need help with this. Alright? Because these are old lessons, you can always go back and review old videos, okay? But first and foremost, let's look at a couple of these problems right here. Alright, first of all, 1 through 3. When we are adding multi-digit decimals, you got to make sure you line up your decimals when you're going up and down. So number 3, it says Michael is purchasing back to school supplies. He gets a math workbook for $19.88, a calculator for $35.97, and a pack of pencils for $8.27. How much did he spend on school supplies? They want the total amount here, and as you can see, I made sure to line up my decimals. My hundredths place is lined up, my tenths place is lined up, my ones place, and my tens place. All right. The same deal for when you are subtracting. Make sure you line up your decimals. And number 6, we have Mr. Christensen orders 88 pounds of mulch for his yard. He ends up only needing 43.7 pounds. How much does he have left over? So because we have the leftover here, we want to know how much he has after he uses the 43.7 pounds. So make sure you are lining up your decimals. And of course, this is a subtraction problem. All right. Now we are going to be multiplying multi-digit numbers. So the rules are a little bit different. So I wrote a little note down here. It says count the number of decimal places to determine how many decimal places your product will have. Remember, product is the answer to any multiplication problem. So, for example, in number 7, you're going to have a product or an answer to a multiplication problem that has 3 decimal places, because the 3, 4, and the other 4 are all numbers in a decimal slot, whether it's the tenths or the hundredths, but there are 3 numbers here in the decimal slot. So I'm going to highlight them real quick. There's 1, there's 2, and then there is 3. All right, so over here on number 9, I'm going to read this one to you. It says, to fill up his fuel tank, Sam puts 16.8 gallons of gas at $3.90 per gallon. How much does Sam spend on fuel? And you can round to the nearest hundredths place. So again, my answer will have 3 decimals, all right? And if you don't remember how to multiply multi-digit numbers, all right, just remember that you need placeholders. So for example, you don't have any placeholders in your first row here. All right, however, 0 times any number is going to be 0. So 0 times 8 is 0, 0 times 6 is 0, and 0 times 1 is also 0. Okay, so for your first line, you're not even going to have or need any placeholders. Okay, however, when you move down below, you are going to need a placeholder. All right, and it is going to be holding the tens place for you, because remember that this is basically like saying 90, although this is 9/10. This is not 900ths, so I'm basically holding the hundredths place here. All right, and then you can start to multiply. So for example, 9 times 8 is 72. Okay, and then because it's 72, you need to carry the 7 to be added after you multiply 6 times 9. Okay, and then when you have to move to this 3, you're going to need 2 zeros as your placeholders. So just don't forget your placeholders, okay? All right, moving on down. I can fluently multiply multi-digit decimals. So again, make sure you count the number of decimal places to determine how many decimal places your product will have. In number 12, though, we have a multi-step problem. So we have multiplication and addition. So I'm going to read through this. It says, Mrs. Hoskins is going to plant her new garden. She purchases 4 tomato plants for $2.59 each, a package of watermelon seeds for $1.87, and a jalapeno plant for $3.88. How much will Miss Hoskins spend on seeds and plants for her new garden? The first information I had here was 4 tomato plants for $2.59. So what I've done here is I'm going to take the $2.49 it costs for 1 tomato plant and multiply it by 4, okay, to get an answer. You're going to take your answer here because this is the total amount for the tomato plants, and that's going to go up here. So in addition to the 4 tomato plants, we had to add $1.87 for watermelon seeds to get a new amount. And then I'm going to take this answer and move it over here and add how much the jalapeno plant costs. All right, now I can fluently divide multi-digit decimals. So when we are dividing decimals, okay, there are a couple of rules. First rule is your divisor goes on the outside of your house and your dividend goes on the inside of your house. So I've labeled your divisor here. So just think of it this way. If I put it over here, you would know what goes outside the house, right? And you would know what goes inside the house. Now also realize this, is I didn't have any decimals in my divisor, okay? So I can keep that decimal where it goes. I don't have to change anything. So my decimal will stay where it should be, where it was originally, between the 8s. There we go. And don't forget, when you're doing this, you got to make sure you line up your decimals in your quotient or your answer to your multiplication, to your division problem. So just make sure these that line up. All right, those are basically the same all the way through, but as you can see here, you will need to move these decimal places. I'm going to give you that example here in number 17. It says the area of a rectangle is 82.84 square meters. If the length is 7.6 meters, then what is the width? So, as you can see, we are going to be moving this decimal one spot because the divisor needed to be a regular number. So I moved it one spot here, which means I'm going to move it one spot here. So my new dividend is 828.4 because I moved the decimal one spot in the divisor. So 18 says the Bailey family is traveling at 565.5 miles for a family vacation. If they estimate they can travel 78 miles per hour, then how many hours will it take for the Baileys to arrive? So my divisor is 78. It does not have a decimal in it, so everything can stay the same. Okay, that is it for the day. Everybody have a great day and stay safe.